Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Quha 12 webinar. My name is Petri Latvarasku. I'm responsible for Quha marketing activities. And during this webinar, I will be explaining the Quha 12 clicking software to you. The webinar will take approximately 15 minutes, so this is a short one, and after that you have the possibility of getting answers to your questions. So you can send your questions to us by email at webinar@quha.com, or you can use the YouTube live chat as well. So we will take those questions from there, so feel free to ask us those questions. So without further ado, let's go into the Quha 12. So what is Quha 12 and who it is for? So Quha 12 is 12 clicking software for Windows 10. It enables accessing mouse related functions without physical switches, and it is used always in combination with an assistive mouse such as Quha Zono or Quha Zono 2. You can use other assistive mice as well, so it is not mouse dependent, so feel free to use it with any other assistive mouse as well. Quha 12, it is included in Quha Zono 2 mouse sales package, so if you buy Quha Zono 2, this is included. You can also buy it separately, and you can use it without any other Quha product. So for example, you can use a different technology based assistive mouse if you so wish, and use it with Quha 12. So the UI for Quha 12 has been designed so that it reduces unnecessary cursor movement, meaning that there will be, I will explain what it means, but it is extremely easy and fast to use because of this feature. It is basically used by any person who doesn't use physical switches to click for any reason. So if the person doesn't want to use or can't use, typically this would be that there is a disability or some temporary reason why hands cannot be used. So then it would be easy to use clicking with dual clicker. So let's go into the actual demonstration. So I will explain how the Quha 12 works. So now first what we do is that we'll start the Quha 12. So Quha 12 is launching here. It will take a few seconds and then it will start. So Quha 12 starts, and the first item I did was I paused it because it is easier for me to explain what is happening when the dual clicker is not clicking here and there. So there is a small Z icon there where I can unpause this, but for now it is paused so that it is easier for me to explain things. So what we started is the Quha 12, and the first thing that you will see here is the user interface where there are some settings here. So the user interface language is something that can be set. We have currently 7 different languages. We are using English here. There is a possibility for you to get the Quha 12 also in your own language if you provide us the translation. So this is something that we have done for several of our customers. So that is one possibility. And there is also a possibility of making this application launch when Windows starts. This is actually something extremely useful, and this is something that I would recommend that anyone who is using this application would choose this one. Then what would be the most typical features to be used here? So let me just unpause this first, and now the first thing I would like to do is I would like to change the speed so that this is a little bit slower. So the speed is now, I actually put it to very slow speed so that it is easier for me to explain, and you can also see the default setting is fine if you are accustomed to Quha 12, but perhaps during the practice period you might want to use the slower speed a little bit in the beginning. So that is the one. Then we have the possibility of configuring. So when I dwell or stay idle in a place for a moment, you can see that the menu, Quha Instant Dwell menu, pops up here, and there are some icons here which are doing we have scrolling, and we have pausing, we have left click and right click, we have the keyboard, so for text input, and they can be set up here. I'm not going to go through all the settings. There are actually quite a lot of customizable features here, but basically the menu is customizable. So how many items are there, and how many are visible at each moment. So the default setting is this one. So 5 items visible, and then there are these arrows that you can use to get to the other features, and as I said, this is customizable. But basically this menu pops up every time when you stay idle or dwell somewhere for a while, and those delays can be set. You can see the crosshair here. It is on by default, so it is easier to pinpoint where the cursor is located. If you don't want to use the crosshair, you can turn it off in the settings. So that is something. And when using this, you want to get rid of this window, then you would like to just minimize this like that, and now we have our full screen. So the typical features to do would be to make a click. So if I would like to make a click, let's do it so that I will, for example, here I'll start the web browser here. Well, actually it requires a double click, so I choose double click here, and the browser will launch. By the way, I didn't mention it, but I am not using my hands at all here, so everything you can see happens with me just moving my head with the Quha Sono 2 mouse, and then all the clicking is done with the Quha 12 application. So I started the browser here, and let me just open also the Windows on-screen keyboard. There is a possibility of using the Windows on-screen keyboard with this application, or you can use the built-in keyboard as well. So for simplicity, and because you are familiar with it, I will just demonstrate this using the Windows on-screen keyboard. It is a predictive keyboard, and I just now set the focus onto the line here. Let's just delete a couple of letters so that I can type. So you can see also at the same time that how to type on this keyboard. So now it is blank. So let's open a web page. I will just open Quha.com. Quha. Quha.com. And the web page opens here. And as you can see, the excuse me, the Quha.com web page is maybe three pages long, and if I want to scroll this window, I would just dwell here for a while, and then I would just choose scroll down. Like this. So as you remember, I set the Quha 12 speed a little bit low, so typically when you are using this you would probably have it faster so that you don't have to wait so long, but for demonstration purposes I'm using it in a fairly slow manner. And in the same manner that I have now done a lot of left clicking and double clicking, so if I would like to, for example, get the right click, I would choose the right click here. And basically now I right clicked this icon here, so it opens the context menu from this application. So that's what happens. The activity that you are doing is always concentrating on the position where you are idling. So if I idle here, it would make the feature happen exactly on that position there. So if I idle here, whatever I do would be positioned that way. And you notice that I don't really need to move my cursor very much, because the cursor is or the instant dwell menu pops up very close to the position. So with traditional 12 clickers you would typically pick the feed menu from the side of the bar or wherever you have located the menu, but in this case it happens like this. I think those are the very typical features. There are actually lots and lots of features, but just to make sure that this is going to be short enough presentation, I will not demonstrate many more features here. So those would be very typical. There are lots of features like copying, pasting, opening browser. You can set those onto those menus to make things very quick with the computer. The basic clicking features I have here now demonstrated, and perhaps I will just move forward. So let me just still make this paused. So I think you are now seeing my face here. So just to recap, so how does Quha 12 differ from other 12 clickers? So number one, instant 12 feature. So the menu pops up close to your cursor when you want to make an activity. You don't have to move the cursor very much. The unnecessary cursor movement is reduced. It's a very complete 12 clicker feature set. So you have all the features that you can possibly hope for a 12 clicker, and they are all included. And it is very customizable. So you can customize the menus, speed. There are a lot of settings that you can tailor for the use for the computer. And the benefits to the user are, you don't really need an external switch. Everything that I have been showing in this demonstration I have done without my hands, and it has been just with my head movements and the Quha 12 clicking software. And it really makes the computer usage much easier, much less cursor movement when you are doing this, and it gives you really full access to all the mouse features. Those are the key items for Quha 12. And at this point I would like to go through your questions, so maybe somebody can read me all the questions that have been received, and I'll try to answer those.
Yes. Excuse me. First question: does Quha 12 work only with Quha Zono 2 mouse?
So the question was if Quha 12 works only with Quha Zono 2 mouse. Quha Zono and Quha Zono 2 are independent of Quha 12 in the sense that they can be used without it, and Quha 12 can be used with any assistive mouse available. As I said earlier, it is included in the Quha Zono 2 sales package, but it can be used and separately from that. So all the combinations here work.
Next question. Can I have Quha Dwell in my language?
Yeah, the question was if it is possible to have the Quha Dwell in other languages, in your language, and I think I briefly explained this earlier already, that yes, it is possible. So we have a mechanism that we can do the translation. So if you are doing the translations for us, there is we can give you instructions on how to do that, and we'll include those translations in the next version if we get them from you. And please contact me. So my name is Petri Latvarasku, and contact me if you want to get the translations on your language. All right.
Okay, then can I try Quha Dwell without buying it?
Yeah, the question was if it is possible to try Quha Dwell without buying it. The answer is yes. So we have a possibility, so it requires a license, and anyone can have a 1-month demonstration license to try Quha Dwell. So just contact us and we'll give you the license, and if you are a reseller, we can also give you a few licenses for you to give to your customers. So that way I mean, Quha Dwell can be downloaded from Quha web pages, and the trial licenses are available freely from us. All right, any other questions?
I think that's all for now.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I think we managed to do it in, well, almost 15 minutes, and this was a really short webinar, and see you again in other Quha webinars. Thank you.